Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 2 math. You can find all the lessons on aplustudents.com in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab, scroll down to grade 2 math, and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with chapter probability and statistics. Please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. I'm on grade 2 math. The chapter we're on right now is probability and statistics. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is more, less, and equally likely. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? So the more portion on the spinner is yellow, the less is red. So the spinner is more likely to land on yellow. Look at the spinner. The yellow part is larger than the red part. So more of the spinner is yellow than is red. The spinner is more likely to land on yellow. Let's just start with the test questions. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? So the more portion on the spinner is yellow. So it will more likely to land on yellow. Option number one is the correct option. On which color is the spinner less likely to land? So the spinner has more blue portion than yellow. So it will less likely to land. It will less likely to land on the yellow. Option number two is the correct option. Option number two is the correct option. If you select the marble without looking, which color are you more likely to pick? So which is the correct option? It will more likely to pick the red one. Why? Because we have more red marbles than brown. So it is more likely when you pick a marble without looking, you will pick a red marble because you have more red marbles than brown. And which color is the spinner more likely to land? So which is the correct option? It will more likely to land on yellow because the most portion on the spinner is yellow. The correct option is yellow. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? Neither red and yellow are equally likely. Option number three is the correct option. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? It will more likely to land on yellow. Grade 6 maths. It's Monday. Grade 1, 2, 3, and 4 today. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? It will more likely to land on green because most of the portion of the spinner is green. So basically, the one that has the more portion is more likely to land, and the one that has less portion is less likely to land on. On which color is the spinner more likely to land? So which is the correct option? It will more likely to land on yellow. Option number two is the correct option. If you select a marble without looking, what color you what color are you less likely to pick? Grade 6 language class you are either looking for. Neither orange and brown are equally likely. On which color is the spinner less likely to land? It will less likely to land on blue because the smaller portion of the spinner is blue. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself. Today, let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is identify multiplication sentences for equal groups. Which expression describes the model? So we have to write down the expression that describes the model. We can see we have one, two, three groups, and each group have one, two dots. So we have three groups, and each group have two dots. So we can write it like this. We have the number of groups are three, multiply by the number of dots in each group. So we have 3 times 2, and we have the the total we have are 6 dots. So that is, we can write it as 3 times 2. Let's just start with the test questions. Which expression describe the model? You guys are talking about grade 6 language session or math session. So we have one, two, three groups, and each group have 3 dots. So that is 3 times 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. I think that's about the language session. So the correct option is option number 2, that is 3 times 3. Which expression describes the model? So which is the correct option? So we have two groups, and each group have how many dots? We have two groups and each group have two dots. So the correct option is 2 times 2. The last option is the correct option, that is 2 times 2. Which expression describes the model? That is 2 times 3 because we have two groups and each group has 3 dots. So that is 2 times 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 2 times 3. Which expression describes the model? So which is the correct option? We have three groups and each group has two dots. So that is 3 takeaway. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 3 takeaway. 3 times 2, sorry. Which expression describes the model? And each group have 3 dots. So we can write it as 3 times 3. The total groups we have 3, and in each group we have three dots, so we can write it as 3 times 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. 3 times 3 it is. Which expression describes the model? Which is the correct option? That is 2 times 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which expression describes the model? Which is the correct option? That is 2 times 2. Option number 3 is the correct option. Which expression describes the model? That is 3 times 3. The last option is the correct option. Which expression describes the model? That is 2 times 3. Option number 3 is the correct option. Which expression describes the model? That is 2 times 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which expression describes the model? That is 3 times 2 option number or 2 times 3 option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself right away. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is certain, probable, unlikely, and impossible. If you select a marble without looking, how likely is that you will pick a brown marble? So that is certain. Certainly you will pick a brown marble. Why? Because we have brown marbles. So you certainly pick the brown marble. The correct option is certainly. I'm here. How likely is that the spinner will land on a yellow space? Certain, probable, impossible. So the correct option is impossible. It is impossible that spinner will land on a yellow space. Why? Because we do not have any yellow pollution on the spinner. So there is impossible. Option number 3 is the correct option. If you select a marble without looking, how likely is that you will pick an orange marble? Certain, probable, unlikely. So that is Unlikely because you have only one orange marble and rest of them are white, so it is unlikely that you will pick an orange marble. How likely is that the spinner will land on blue space? The correct option is certainly it will land on blue space because all the spinner is blue. So whenever you spin, it will land on blue. If you select a marble without looking, how likely is that you will pick a white one? It is probably it will. The correct option is probable you will pick a white one because you have more white marbles than blue. How likely is that the spinner will land in a green space? It will unlikely to land on green. The correct option is unlikely. If you select a marble without looking, how likely is that you will pick a red one? So certainly you will pick a red one because all the marbles are red. If you select a marble without looking, how likely is that you will pick a purple one? It is impossible that you will pick a purple one because we do not have any purple marble over here. If you are without looking, how likely is that you will pick a brown one? Certainly, you will pick the brown one. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move to next lesson. And the next lesson is mean, median, mode, and range. What is the range? Range is the difference between the greater and the smallest number. So the greatest number in the data is 5 and the smallest number in the data is 1. So the difference between the greatest and the smallest number is range. That is 5 minus 1 equals 4. So the range of the given data is 4. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the median of the given data? So for the median, you have to arrange the data from least to greatest. Median is the exactly middle number of the given data. So the first thing we need to arrange them from least to greatest 3, 3, 5, 6, 7, 7, and 9. So median is the number that divides the data into two exactly equal groups. The numbers that are before the median are smaller than the median, and the numbers that are after the median are greater than the median. So you can see here is 6. Before 6, all the numbers are less than 6, and after 6, all the numbers are greater than 6. So the median is the correct option is 6. 6 is the median. What is the range? Range is the difference between the greatest and the smallest number in the given data. So the greatest number in the data is 10 and the smallest number in the data is 3. That is 10 take away 3. So 10 take away 3 is 7. So option number 1 is the correct option. The range of the data is 7. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the mod? The mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. So the mod is 0 because you can see the 0 is 1, 2, 3 times in the given data. So mod is 0. What is the range? That is 10 take away 2 is 8. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the median? Median is the number that divides the data into two exactly equal groups. Okay, let's just arrange the numbers from least to greatest. Mm, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. So the median is 6. So the median is 6. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the mod? Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. So mod is 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the mod? Mod is the number that appears the most of the time in the given data. So the mod is 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. The range is the difference between the greatest and the smallest number. So 10 take away 0 is 10. The range is 10. What is the median? Yes, this is my real name. The median is 2. Let's just arrange them from least to greatest. 4, 6, 7, and 10. So the median is 4. The correct option is 4. Option number 3 is the correct option. Option number 3 is the correct option. What is the range? The range is 6. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself today. So we are working on grade 2 math. Chapter we're working on is probability, and the lessons we have covered today are more, less, and equally likely. Identify multiplication sentences for equal groups. Certain, probable, unlikely, and impossible, then mean, median, mod, and range. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you, or either you can write down the question in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions if you have any. So you can, if you have any. Any questions?